Ooh, live, back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast. We are here to kick your ass, but in a good way, baby. Ready to rock and roll? Here we go. The hour of power is upon us. As the NFL does not die on this show, we keep it alive all year long.
There is no off season.
There is no off season, even though Kenny Off Season is his title today, right there.
Kenny Off Season,
a lot of nicknames.
Kenny Mock Drafts, Kenny Smart Ass.
Right. Whatever it is, from week to weekend. But
Yeah.
Kenny is his name, and that's what we call him on the show, amongst other things. We got Prime up there in Detroit. We were just talking about the different weather where no matter where you live in America, you have to deal with either blizzards or hurricanes or tornadoes or earthquakes. It's really nowhere is really that safe. But Prime is saying that Michigan, they got that pretty cool. I don't know. You don't get that lake effect snow like that bad.
No, not down here. Now, if you live up in like Port Huron, further up like the east side of the state and then the far west, dude, they get lit like Buffalo. They measure it in like feet. Like down here, lower southeast Michigan, we'll deal with the cold. You'll get the occasional 6-7 inches, but like the last few years, man, the weather's been actually pretty cooperative. We haven't gotten. I remember when I was a lad, walking uphill both ways, 20 miles to school. But they didn't have like snow days and stuff like that, man. Now here they'll get like 2 inches on the ground, man. It's like Atlanta. It's just no school. Kids are at home playing video games or eating fucking Kinder bars or whatever the hell they're eating nowadays.
They'll cancel school for anything.
Crazy. No, they will. They will actually.
Yeah. Well, we're also learning about the cost of living off air too, and we're learning that the less square feet you have, the more money you pay in certain parts of the world.
That's the new America. That's the new America, baby.
It's unbelievable. Jeez,
it's insane.
Stay away from New York City and San Francisco. Stay away from Fort Lauderdale and Miami. I'm telling you, it's freaking too expensive. Just go somewhere like hit up Michigan, Wisconsin. I don't know. It might be
Nebraska.
For God's sake.
You got tornadoes.
Yeah, just corn. You're gonna trip over some corn, but besides that,
be a farmer, do some shit, man. We do football. That's all we know how to do. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna talk some football, keep it alive, and with there not being a whole lot going on in the news except for OTAs, we're gonna talk about divisions this week, and we're gonna kind of, I don't want to say Drew Brees through all of them, but we're gonna go through all of them. I want to talk about it. Wherever the conversation goes, it's gonna go. We have no set list, checklist over here. We have no rehearsal. We don't know what the fuck's going to happen. We're just going to have fun doing it. But we start with trivia, as we traditionally do on the show. And here we go. Here's a trivia question 4.
I got one for you too, Jason.
You got one? All right. Well, here we go. Super Bowl 39 was played between the Patriots and the Eagles. The Pats won 24-21. Who was the MVP of that Super Bowl?
I'm gonna guess it was on the winning team.
Yep. Super Bowl 39, Patriots won 24-21 over the Eagles. That's when Terrell Owens had that huge day on one leg, but he wasn't the MVP. It was somebody on the Patriots. You're right about that.
I'm gonna say
I don't think it was Brady. Was it? Oh, that was your boy with the.
I'll go Gronk.
Was it a defensive player?
I thought it was a defensive player too, but I'll go Gronk.
I can't think of who it was.
All right, so
I was either going to go like Deion Branch, but I think that was one of the earliest Super Bowls. I think it was somebody on defense.
Bro, chill. Deion Branch is the answer, man.
Is it?
Stop right there. That's it.
It was farther. I thought his was farther back than that.
Yeah, that's going back to like 2004, bro. That's going way back.
20
what
years?
Is this now? Super Bowl what?
51?
50,000? I honestly, I don't even know what the hell they're up to right now. 56, 57, something like that? Really?
That's a good question. 60?
Like, I remember when it was like Super Bowl 25, this Giants and Broncos playing. Like, I remember man, that is 30 freaking years ago, dude. That's unbelievable.
Man, don't remind me.
What do you got, Prime? You got a trivia question.
So I got one. Now this is it's probably going to be a technicality, but it's still I think it's still a pretty good trivia question. So in NFL history, there's only been 3 teams to win Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. Name those teams.
All right, Kenny, we're going to do this together because the Redskins are one of them.
The Redskins are definitely one.
Okay.
Hostetler, Williams, and Theismann. Williams, Theismann, and Mark Rippon.
Yeah.
What
And
about
think about the Giants. They got Phil Simms. They got Hostetler. They got Eli Manning.
Eli?
That's 2. The third
And we
one
need
should
one
be
more?
easy. Yep.
Is it the Colts? The third
Well, hold
one?
on. Don't just jump out with shit. Hold on. Let's think.
Oh
for
no,
a
I'm
second.
saying maybe the Colts because they had Eli, they had Unitas, right? Who probably
You mean Peyton and Unitas? But no, those were the only 2 Super Bowls they won. So
Yeah,
you got
I
to think
think
about
so.
teams. Multiple times they've been to the Super Bowl. And you said winning it, right?
Yes. Now keep in mind this third one here is kind of a technicality, but it's a championship nonetheless. That's
All right. So the question was again, one more time. We got the 2 so far.
Who?
3
Yeah.
quarterbacks, one team, right?
3. Yeah. Who are the only? There's 3 teams in NFL history that won quarterbacks or won Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. You guys got the Giants. And
definitely
you guys
not the
got
Niners.
The Skins.
This one, I think it's pretty easy. It's Green Bay, Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, and Brett Favre, right?
There you go. There
All
you
right.
go.
I saw the
Rock-
Rodgers and the Favre. I couldn't remember Bart.
Well, the
Starr.
Bart Starr were those weren't Super Bowls yet, were they?
Well,
But
the
I-
first
Yeah,
2
I think
were.
so.
Oh yeah, they were. So
Yeah.
so there was no technicality then. All right.
Yeah, so that's definitely a true statement right there. Good question. I like it. All
All
right.
right.
Cool deal, brother. All right. So we got a
Good
trivia
job,
questions
fellas.
right today. We're off to a good start. I like it. Way to go. So, all right. Who was off to a good start last year? Well, Buffalo was. They won the division 13-4. Their over-under, I think, is what was it, like 11.5 games this year. A lot of people are going to take the over because it doesn't seem like anybody can really compete with them. But, Kenny, I know that you like the Patriots. I like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Are they good enough to compete with the Bills in that division? With the moves they made some really good moves, Kenny. They definitely did. I mean, bringing in Stephon Diggs, I know now is in the news for wrong reasons, but if he can, be a veteran and step up and play wide receiver, he can be really great for Drake May, among other players.
I think that the Diggs news is just on par for wide receivers. I don't think that's like that big a deal. I think he'll come in and be just fine. It's all going to be on Drake May, I think, but people have a lot of faith in him. He looked pretty good last year. He was on a terrible team, so
Yeah.
they spent the most in the offseason. They had a very nice draft, but they also have the most in money right now. I think they still have the most money to spend still. They could actually go out and get another free agent, improve that team. I don't think the Jets are ready, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. I don't think we can count on Tua being healthy for 17 games. That's probably unlikely to happen. Mike McDaniels, as good as he was with the Niners, and as much as I like him, people not really happy with him out there. So he's under a lot of pressure, and so I agree. I think the Patriots can be number 2. Could they give them a run for the first place team? Depends on their schedule, and I believe they have a pretty easy schedule, don't they? The Patriots, do they have the second easiest schedule, or
They have a third place schedule, and Buffalo they play 2 of the weaker divisions. I forgot off the top of my head. I wish I had the schedule in front of me. I don't actually have it. But yeah, you would think. Look, I mean, Prime. You would think Buffalo. Hey, what's up? Oh, Karthik was up in the house, man. What's up? You know this dude.
What's going on?
brother?
What's going on, Karth? You all right?
We
How
know
you
that the
doing?
Bills are the team, and we're looking for somebody to throw in them. They won the last 6-7 years or something like that, and since Josh Allen's second year of prime. I do like the Patriots as a possible team to sneak into the postseason, though, because who did we have last year in the playoffs, Prime? We had Buffalo made it, Baltimore,
Buffalo, Baltimore,
Pittsburgh.
Kansas City, Pittsburgh,
right?
You had
Texans,
the
Chargers,
Texans, the
Broncos.
Chargers, and the Broncos.
I would say Steelers, I feel like they're out right away. Or right now they're trying to get John Smith from Miami. I don't know how much
they always somehow make it though and lose in the first
know.
round.
they do. But I don't
Remember
know.
last year I said that I thought that Tomlin would have his first losing season, and they really surprised me.
Yeah, last year I think was a kind of a wake up call for the Steelers to show them and their fans and Tomlin and everybody that there's is for as consistent. I won't even call them really good. I just call them consistent, and I think that was a wake up call last year to for them to kind of change some of their philosophical ways. Especially on offense, they need to kind of join the 21st century. It's not just about throwing deep balls to Antonio Brown or Mike Wallace or Pickens or all and now they got DK. They really need to kind of get a little bit more innovative on offense. But I think as far as the Patriots go, I think the Patriots are probably, because you got to remember too, the Bengals didn't make the playoffs last year.
Just barely missed.
Right.
So
right.
you're looking at potentially 2 of those spots that we talked about, and which 2 of those 7 teams are going to take a step back? Is it going to be the Chargers and the Broncos, being replaced by the Patriots and the if the Steelers make it again? But my biggest concern going into the season with the Patriots is still their receiving core. They got Mac Hollins, they got Stephon Diggs, they got Kendrick Bourne, but this season for the Patriots, I think, is going to be probably their first and only get out of jail free type thing. Mike Vrabel's coming back. There's the sentiment there. Everybody's, teary eyed and all, rocked up for that. But if there is a team in that division that I think can at least compete with Buffalo, it's not going to be the Jets and it's not going to be the Dolphins. The Dolphins to me have too many question marks. But I like the Patriots. We've been kind of high on them all off season. So it's all about Drake May, man. If Drake May can play 80%, 75%, improvement from last year, I think the Patriots will be. They could, I think their over under is 7.5. If I got it right,
I think it was actually 8.5. But
yeah, 8.5 makes it.
It depends on who you're. My source is 7.5, and then the over is -150, and the under is 125. So, we'll get that as we get close to the season. That's my wheelhouse.
TreVeyon Henderson will be a nice. TreVeyon Henderson will be a nice.
Yeah, he will be. Him, Ramondre Stevens. Run the ball. I mean, it's all about dual running backs in the NFL for the most part. Only the greatest ones like Saquon and Derrick Henry are the ones that really get the ball all the time. Christian McCaffrey. Otherwise, you don't see it. Even Jahmyr Gibbs, as gifted as he is, and we think he should get the ball more. Montgomery, when healthy, is getting the football, no doubt. You mentioned Miami, both of you guys. And we are looking at them as probably the last place team. We're going to fight it out with the Jets maybe at the bottom. But we do always say when Tua plays, they play well. It's weird. So if the guy stays healthy, I feel like they can have a competent offense. If Jonnu Smith does end up staying, which he does want to, you still do have Tyreek Hill, who, probably did lose a step. Jalen Waddle, who's getting better now, you would think in his 3rd year in the NFL. They can still run the ball with A-Chain.
And Eric Engel is going to.
Okay.
I think he's going to get some carries this year.
Maybe. Look, they got players. They can play. Alec Ingold, yeah. I mean, they got players, man. I mean, defensively, they can use a little fine tuning. But so can most of the teams in that division. The Jets didn't look that great on defense last year. The Bills didn't look that great on defense last year. The Patriots may be the team that you can say may have the best defense in that division. So you know what? They may be a team that can sneak in there and knock the Broncos out of the ranks. Denver, who made it last year, snuck in there. I don't know, Kenny.
Yeah, because I think you're right. I still see 3 people making it from the West. I think that's very possible that happens again. I think the Chargers are only going to get better, but I could be wrong.
I agree with that. Let's jump to that division. Why not? Let's just go there, because I think the Chargers are going to take a big leap this year. I know your boy, their wide receiver, they drafted Trey Amos, right? I know you love this kid.
Trey Harris.
Trey Harris, excuse me.
Trey Amos is the cornerback.
Right. That's right. Thank you.
He went to Commanders.
Yeah, and this kid went to Ole Miss, I think it was.
They both went to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. All right. So, Jackson Dart was throwing balls to him. We'll get to that division in a little while over there and see where he is in the depth chart. But I like the Chargers a lot this year. And I know people every year try to throw in the Kansas City Chiefs. I really believe this year in Jim Harbaugh's 2nd year, with what the problem was last year for the Chargers, bro, was they couldn't really score consistently.
They had no wide receivers, right?
Right, exactly. Ladd McConkey was their guy. They didn't expect him to be their number 1 wide receiver last year. Not at all. They thought it'd be Quentin Johnson or Joshua Palmer was going to step over, whatever. Right. It did not happen. So you're finding these guys, if this rookie kid could step up now, if Quentin Johnson does have a good year, you got Omarion Hampton in the backfield to go along with Najee Harris. I think this offense could be extremely potent and be a real big problem. And again, Jim Harbaugh, all this guy does is win. I like the Chargers a lot.
I love the Chargers, and I love Harbaugh. I think in some of the questions that people ask right now is about their defense. I think people may be overstating the loss of Joey Bosa. It could be one of those addition by subtraction things. Harbaugh in defense, and he's a lot like Pete Carroll, in the sense that they like to run the ball. They like to play really good defense. I don't think they're worried about scoring 30 points a game, but in that division, we saw what the Broncos could do on occasion. We know the Chiefs even though their offense kind of took a step back from a points per game standpoint, I still think that the Kansas City Chiefs, as long as you got Patrick Mahomes, you're capable of putting 30 on the board any given week.
Yeah.
My biggest question mark, I think they're going to be okay on offense. Their defense, I'm a little bit concerned, just from a depth standpoint. But I do think that, again, people are over. I've talked to some people, some friends and stuff, and Joey Bosa's gone, so that's gonna, and it's not that serious in my opinion. Is it Joey? Yeah, it's Joey, right?
Yeah,
I'm thinking. Okay,
now he's on Buffalo. He'll play maybe 6-7 games for Buffalo. Or
he's already hurt.
Yeah, he is.
Right. So the guy can't stay healthy. And when you look at the rest of that division, Kansas City, again, you look at it, again, they're the cream of the crop every year, going to the Super Bowl and whatnot. We always try to find a way to knock them down. Rashee Rice coming back this year cannot be understated how good of
Hollywood Brown,
right? Then you got Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce is on his last leg. I don't know, but they always seem to find a way to figure out and get it done. And they got the coaches in there as well. So Kansas City is going to be a factor, but just maybe the Chargers overtake them this year. I can't take the Raiders seriously yet, but Denver, I gotta give props to Denver. They made it last year. Now I feel like they probably are going to take a step back this year because I'm wondering where all that offense is going to come from. Evan Ingram coming over. Yeah, maybe that's something, but I don't know. They don't really excite me too much, guys. I feel like they kind of hit a good stride playing a bunch of subpar teams last year.
Yeah, Bo Nix could have a sophomore slump. They really counting on R.J. Harvey out there to have a huge season, right? And so you're resting it on a rookie to run the ball. You've got Bo Nix, who possibly could sophomore slump. The defense is legit. I think they're ranked right behind the Eagles, number 2 defense this year. Yeah. Dre Greenlaw just had a really bad injury. He could get re-injured. He's already, I think, missed some time and sat down a little bit and had to cool it down. Hufanga, who they also got from us, another guy who was just injured, and I remember him on the Niners. He's like a boomer bust kind of defensive guy where he's blown coverages and been burned, and he also comes through with some nice turnovers sometimes. So that was a big risk, those 2 guys. I know on paper and the name brand sounds really good, but coming back from injuries, I always have a couple, reservations about that. But I'm more on the Bo Nix having a little sophomore slump this year because he wasn't fantastic passing the ball last year, especially towards the end of the year. I don't think he was very good.
And that's why I'm not too concerned. I mean, first of all, you look at the coaches. You look at on paper, they probably have the 4 best coaches, or 4 of, as far as the entire division from top to bottom, if you go by what Pete Carroll's done in the past. And, they got really good coaches, really good coaching staffs. Bo Nix, as far as a sophomore slump, I mean, if he has a sophomore slump, how noticeable will it be? Because you just said he didn't have fantastic numbers. It's not like if Jaden Daniels has a sophomore slump, going from 4,000, I think he had 800 yards receiving or something like that, or rushing. That would be a very noticeable sophomore slump. But I think Bo Nix, I don't think he'll ever be a top 5 quarterback in the league. But they don't need him to be. As long as Sean Payton is at the controls and they continue to make smart moves, free agency drafts, whatever it is that they're doing, I think
they're also
going to
have a harder schedule.
And that's what I was going to get to. Their schedule now. This will be a test. So would they win 11 games last year?
I think 10. Let me check. I think they went 10-7.
10-7 and snuck
10-7.
But I agree with Kenny. I think those same 3 teams get in. I think New England probably misses it by an eyelash. Pittsburgh, I think this is the year that they finally don't make the playoffs.
Very possible.
And I agree with Kenny. I think those 3.
Out of the 7 teams,
those 3 make it again.
Out of the 7 teams that make the playoffs, that probably 3 or maybe even 4 of them might not. Who is it going to be this year? The Broncos are one that just stand out to me. But I don't think that Bo Nix is going to have maybe a sophomore slump. I think it may be more on who he's got to throw the ball to. It's Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin and people that you've never heard of in your entire life. And their running back is R.J. Harvey, right? Do you know him? No.
I mean, I know him. I love him. But, he's not even a top 10 running back coming out of the draft for some people. And usually it's very hard to – I know it's just a consensus of what a bunch of scouts and media media places have said, but like, they're usually right on this. And it's very hard for a guy, ranked up over the top 10 to succeed in the NFL, especially your rookie year on a team that has no wide receivers, like you said.
Right, no doubt.
But you still got some veterans out there. You still got your Amari Coopers out there. You still got your Keenan Allens out there. I'm not sure how much of a difference
reason though, why
Keenan
they're not
Allen
getting
would make,
picked up.
but
Why then?
I think they're just waiting until it gets closer to the season. And honestly, Jay, I don't think that Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen are some of the older free agents that are still left out there. I don't think they mind not being picked up right now. They're probably doing their private workouts and stuff like that, but not have to go to OTAs, not have to go to training camp right now as it stands.
Uh-huh.
I don't think their feelings are hurt. I think they're just probably sitting by the phone waiting for those calls from teams like the Broncos and maybe even the Raiders, teams that really are looking for receiver help.
Well,
yeah, the Niners are looking at Cooper and Keenan Allen, which I'm not crazy about. I don't think we need to do that.
No, I'm not.
Especially this year, we don't need to do that.
No, if I had to pick between the two, I'd rather take Keenan Allen because he's more consistent. Amari Cooper, he just does not do it for me, man. I'm sorry, but I can't have that.
Yeah, I don't like the Cooper. I agree with you on the Allen. He didn't have a bad year last year with the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, and it was the Bears. I mean, they had nothing going on. They should have a much better team this year. He will not be a part of it. And look, you mentioned the Steelers as a team that, again, they could be one that could be out, even though they make the playoffs every year. But George Pickens went to Dallas. We will get to Dallas. That is a big deal because it would have been a nice dynamic duo with him and DK Metcalf. Now you don't have that. Now you got Robert Woods as your number 2. He's been in the league since 1983. I don't know, really.
Well, remember I asked weeks ago, I'm like, is Robert Woods? I think I look up and yeah, he is.
He's 137 years old.
He is. That's insane. And he's not very good when you look at his numbers. I think he's had like 2 or 3 seasons where he's had over 1,000 yards or close to 1,000 yards. Everything else, man, he's pretty mid, but the guy keeps a job. You got to give kudos to his agent. The guy keeps a job.
Right now, they have no quarterback. They have a rookie running back, Caleb Johnson. I do love rookie running backs, but you just don't know what you're going to get with this one. And defensively, yeah, I like what they did, especially in the draft when you go ahead and you get Derek Harmon. And
the D still looks good.
Yeah, I mean, the D still looks good, there's no doubt. But you got to put up points in the NFL at some point, somehow. And I don't see how Pittsburgh is going to do it. So I feel like they're one of the teams that, could probably be out. But then you look at Buffalo. It's like, no, Buffalo's going to make it unless, God forbid, Josh Allen gets hurt.
That's the only thing.
That's it. Same thing with Kansas City. Probably same thing with Houston because that division is just complete and utter garbage. I mean,
you don't have confidence in Daniel Jones to turn that around there. And
I think that was just a threat. There's no way that you can start Daniel Jones over AR. It's just crazy.
I don't know how you could start either one of them at this point, to be honest.
Got that right. Just run the ball.
Man. They are in trouble. That team, what? It's funny though. Daniel Jones will be just good enough to get them to be 8-9, and not make the playoffs, but pick 15th overall again. And who they get? Tyler Warren in the draft.
Yeah. Yep. So he's got.
He's going very late in drafts, so people are not feeling it. They just don't see him getting the ball.
That's the thing. What quarterback is going to get him a whole bunch of touches and a whole bunch of yards? It just ain't going to happen.
It's not going to be in a good situation. It's going to be like a frantic panic attack throw before he gets sacked.
Oh my God, he's open with this. But here, let me ask this: what year would this be for Andrew Luck? If he
got drafted in 2012.
So he would still be with the Colts. So he literally set them back. What, he's been gone 5 years now?
Probably
4 years.
More than that, I think.
So Andrew Luck is literally single-handedly. He's the reason why the Colts are in the position they're in right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then they lost. But they got something to play for. They lost Jim Irsay, their owner.
That's right.
There may be that the black band on the uniform. There may be the
they might have a little extra motivation to do
but I still don't see them being. So you got Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. You got
Baltimore's definitely going to make it again, unless these teams lose their quarterbacks. How else? But who else can make it that didn't make it last year? Cincinnati definitely.
Cincinnati's taking somebody's spot this year.
I think so.
It's just a matter of is it the Chargers or the Broncos? And Jason, you said all arrows point towards the Broncos. If you had to pick a team from last year that did, and I would probably go with that too, despite
Broncos
my love for Bo Nix. I would probably have to agree with that.
can Buffalo surprise us, or the Ravens, or Houston, and become just a mediocre team? I don't know. I think they're all going to remain, double-digit win teams. And win
the four of those teams are going to probably make the playoffs, win their divisions again, and then it's just a matter of, like you say, the Pittsburghs and the watch out for those Cleveland Browns.
What do you think about the Cleveland Browns now? Like, I think Joe Flacco probably goes in as a starter, but do you think that that Sanders, Shedeur, possibly gets a nod at some point? Would he go in as the backup, or do you think maybe he's third?
I heard he's QB4 right now.
He's and that's. I don't know if that's a publicity thing.
You know what?
You can't realistically tell me Dylan Gabriel is a better, and as my Oregon quarterbacks, but you can't tell me that Dylan Gabriel is realistically higher on the depth chart than Shedeur. That's got to be just like a pencil thing, and not.
I think they're 3A, and 3B at this point.
Kevin Stefanski has made it pretty clear that he has no idea who his quarterback is going to be. He's got no clue now.
Or he doesn't want us to know.
Or he don't want us to know.
Is there any chance, guys? Is there any chance in hell? Any chance in hell that Deshaun Watson wins that job?
He said he wanted to come back a few months ago, and he was going to be better than he's ever been. That's what he said.
I don't think he plays a game. I don't think he plays one game.
I don't either. I think they're going to roll with Flacco and the two rookies, and by the season starts, I think Deshaun will be either number 4 on the depth chart or gone.
Yeah,
he's making more than Patrick Mahomes this year, guys.
That's insane, man. That's
you probably have Sanders, Gabriel, and Flacco, and Kenny Pickett's going to be out of there. I mean, honestly, Kenny Pickett.
They didn't re-sign him or extend him or something, so he's gone.
He's gone. That
well, that's right. They had 5 quarterbacks at one time before. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's enough. Yeah, go fill your roster where you actually need help.
They're trying to nail that position down. They're like, we got 5 chances now. So.
They're hoping Flacco can do what he did with.
It was with Cleveland a couple of years.
Oh recatch that lightning in a bottle.
He just fizzled out late in the season because he's 45 years old.
Yeah, when he throw 26 interceptions in that playoff game, it's like every time I turned back, he was throwing a pick.
When he went to Indy too, he had a little flash at first because he was all rested. He was rested, and then the very next game, he went down to like being regular.
His age came through. He realized he was 114 years old.
See, like, that's a good flag football quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need to send Jaden Daniels to the Olympics, and we dominate everything.
I forgot. That's right. Flag football. Flag football, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be.
I'm going to try to get in on that, man. I'm going to go try out for that shit.
Well, Roger Goodell is actually sending like 3 NFL reps to be on the board to see who's going to, to pick the players. But, I mean, I think with football, unlike baseball, basketball, where everybody plays the same thing pretty much, I think you can send college. You could probably send college guys or a bunch of practice squad guys, and I think it'd be easy for us to win the gold medal.
But are we going to watch it? Like,
yes.
Point for us.
Well, they don't care if we watch it. I think they want Europeans and Asians and Indians, and they want people to watch it so that NFL spreads all over the world, man.
Yeah,
they do. They want it spread like fucking wildfire. They
really do.
There's no doubt about it. They've been going. Now they're going to more cities and countries, and they're going to start playing on the moon, for God's sake.
I heard Nick Florio say that they want to double the amount of international games.
Goodell mentioned on a podcast, it was like a week or so ago, said that he wants pretty much an international game every week.
Look,
eventually there's going to be 16, 17, international games. It is.
If you extend the rosters and if you extend the season, maybe you can do that. If you do another bye week, things like that could help. But like this traveling, I just watched a girl do. I know 2 girls that do a podcast. They just talked about they were traveling for just 3 days within the country and just on the West Coast, and she was ripped up from the time, like, just traveling. So like, these guys got to be sharp for those games.
Yeah, they're going to add the 18th game. They're going to add a second bye week, and they're going to add a slew more international games, whether we like it or not. But I think the flag football thing, it sucks because they're the only sport that doesn't get an opportunity. What's up, Alexander George? They're the only major sport that doesn't get an opportunity to win a gold medal. So whether it's flag football or 2-hand touch or whatever they plan on doing, you know, there's a sentiment there. I think, you know, and
Dude.
I think guys would line up to do it. I honestly do. But like,
If they sent Lamar Jackson or Jay, dude, forget about it. He would just eat them alive. Can you imagine what you would do?
Apparently, well, they would anyway. I absolutely agree with that. But apparently, they're not allowed to be like, they're not allowed to run. The flag football
Quarterbacks can't run.
And they can't run.
Even if they're being blitzed, they can run.
They can be mobile, right, but I don't think they're allowed to just run the ball like.
That's crazy.
It's like some different rule. I just
send Mahomes over there, send Jamar Chase over there, send.
Please.
There you
Tyreek Hill will be the first one to sign up for this thing. I guarantee it. He'll be the first one there. He don't care about his NFL career anymore. He don't care. He's like,
he said he wants to get 2K yards this year. He said he wants to get 2,000 yards. We'll see what happens.
If Tua stays healthy, I bet you he could do it, man. He came close.
He was on pace. He was on pace before Tua got hurt, man.
He was low on the fantasy draft chart, and he's been climbing real fast. People forgot about him or something.
I think I took him in our fantasy. I think I took him like in the 6th or 7th round.
You took him in one of the last rounds.
Late you took him. Yeah, that was a great one right there. That was a nice steal, no doubt. Well, we'll see if he can help the Dolphins. I don't know if he will, but we'll see. We'll jump it over to the NFC a little bit over here. All right, so we talked about the Commanders a little bit, and Jayden Daniels. They are like the talk of the town when it comes to the NFC right now. Can they dethrone the Philadelphia Eagles, not just in the division, but going to the Super Bowl? So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we know we haven't had the same division winner in like about 100 years in the NFC East.
21 years, I think.
21 years, okay. Is Philly going to repeat, Kenny?
You know, I've been saying this for the last 3 months. I'm picking Dallas to win that division. I know how crazy it sounds. They have improved their offensive line, in my opinion. The defense has a couple question marks, but with Dak coming back healthy, you got Pickens going over there. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Devontae Turpin, who I really like. They got Javonte Williams. They got Jaden Blue. I mean, they got the tools to do it. They didn't have a great season last year, so their schedule shouldn't be super, super tough, and besides the fact that they're in that division. But I see it working out for them. I also heard, this is just rumors, but apparently Jalen Ramsey just bought a house in Fort Worth, Texas. And so that wouldn't hurt Dallas if Jalen Ramsey went over there too. He just seems like the perfect guy for that team. I can see Jerry pulling that trigger on that. And from what I understand, he also put something on his IG or something about June 1st or something. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I feel like Dallas, that's where they can use the help in that secondary. I know that everybody loves Diggs, but everybody's hurt all the time. I feel like I hear too much, but you like Diggs, you like Malik Hooker, but some of these other guys you worry about. Deron Bland is a good player, not a great player, but I mean, they did bring over Dante Fowler Jr. from Washington. So I like that they have Osa Odighizuwe. He's a good player. Micah Parsons not showing up to training camp yet, but I don't think it's anything to worry about.
It's one of those guys that you don't have to. Yeah.
Maybe you're right, Kenny. Maybe Dallas really is going to be that team that you have to watch out for, and it's not so much Washington, where when we were going over the over/unders prime, Washington's over/under was only 8.5 when they won 12 games last year. So they are expecting them to go down.
That's blasphemy right there.
Amazing.
To think that they're only going to win 8 games. I mean, even a sophomore slump, they won 12 games. So now you take their sophomore slump to 10 games. I just can't see that them winning only 8 games. They will have a more difficult schedule, and that's always what's up, Darwin, CD, Pickens combo. Who's going to run a football for them though?
That's a
good question. That's
who's going to run a football for the Cowboys, because
they might find out halfway through the season who that's going to be.
They picked up Javonte Williams.
They said that's their number one guy at this point. They said he's the guy who's number one right now.
And then you got to make sure you're protecting Dak, because if not, it'll be just a matter of time before Joe Milton is in there. And
well, I like the Tyler brothers. They got 3 Tylers on the line: Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker, and I can't remember.
They got Tylers all over.
The Tyler brothers.
So, but I don't see Washington taking that far of a step back.
Well, they have a harder schedule probably than they did last year.
I see maybe 10 games, but I think. And I'm going to go against Kenny here a little bit. I think Philly wins that. To me, and I've said it before, man, Philly has the best roster in the NFL, top to bottom, and to me, it's not even close. I'm almost tempted to go out on a limb and pick them to repeat. I know how difficult that is, but what Howie Roseman has done with that team, losing both coordinators a couple years ago, coming right back and winning it, and just every time you turn around, they're making smart roster moves, man. And right now, to me, just to me, they got the best roster in football, and I don't think it's close. And there's some pretty good teams out there, but they got their 5, 6, 7 stars. But man, Philly from top to bottom, and their depth chart, man, they're rolling right now. I would not be shocked if they win that division again and go back to the Super Bowl.
Go ahead, Kenny. I was going to say, but you first. Go ahead.
They lost some key players on defense still, so it's a new team coming out there. I think it's something to think about. They also lost Kellen Moore, who I really like.
You like him like Liam Cohen like him?
He's right. He's right below. He's right below Liam Cohen for me. Yeah, I really like Kellen Moore. I liked him for a long time. I liked him when he was a quarterback. I liked him in college. I think he's a smart kid.
Surprised the Lions let him go.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the Lions let him get away, considering what he, but it is what it is.
It could hurt them a little. Also, there's the thing about, oh man, it was just in my head and I forgot. There is something else with the Eagles that.
What, about the defense?
No, the defense I know is missing a few players. Kellen Moore, I know they're missing, and but there was something else on the tip of my tongue. You keep talking, and it'll come to me, and I'll tell you.
All right. I'll let it spit. I mean, they are stacked. I like the fact they got A.J. Dillon to back up Saquon Barkley. Let this guy get a rest. Don't run him.
Yeah.
That's going to be a sneaky good move.
Solid.
That's nice. I mean, he might steal a couple of touchdowns from Saquon, but I don't think Saquon cares.
Will Shipley's no scrub. In fact, that's one of my bold takes this year. Will Shipley is going to really break out this year. That's what I think. Even with A.J. Dillon there, that's what I think.
Are they going to start Jahad Campbell, the kid they got from Alabama?
They don't even have to.
That's the thing. They got Nakobe Dean, and who am I missing off the top of my head? The other linebacker was really good. Help me out over here. Zach Vaughn. There it is.
Zach Vaughn.
And that's the reason why they were able to let Sweat get away.
He's just perfect for that team, is what it is, right?
It works. They'll have a rotation going on, keep their guys fresh, and Vic Fangio still sticking around over there doing what he's doing. Yeah, and you're right. Mekhi Becton and Milton both left. Milton went to the Patriots, like we talked about before. Mekhi Becton now went to where did he go? Mekhi Becton. Oh my goodness! I was just
not the Jets.
No, the Chargers. He went to the Chargers. Yeah, think about Ken, but we're talking about the freaking LA Chargers, man. They're stacked up. Mekhi Becton has found his spot at right guard. He's playing, man. He's doing his thing.
Listen, I remembered what I was going to say about the Eagles real quick, super fast. And David pointed this out to me. A lot of people pointed this out to me. I just don't buy into the curse. But Madden cover could be Saquon. You saw what it did to CMC last year. It's hard to not even consider it just a little bit. So,
hey, speaking of that, you know what? You're right on about that too. Look at the cover of College Football 2025.
There's a few guys on.
You had Quinn Ewers, who lost. You had Donovan Edwards, who just crapped the bed last year.
He really did, and he was such a good player.
Who else? There was him. Oh, and Travis Hunter, who had, won the Heisman, but there's always that Heisman curse going into the NFL.
There's that
and then
too.
I think there was a sneak peek on that cover of Jalen Milroe and Kenny's other man crush, the Ohio State running back, Mr. Judkins. They showed there was probably 3/4 of his jersey too. So there's, now that we're going to start the college football 2000, the college football curse as well. But it's going to be interesting to see if Saquon does end up on the cover. Is that going to be a jinx, man?
Man, it's
at
least 50. I think
yes, it did. Former
50.
I'll always remember Garrison Hurst for playing against the Jets in the season opener. It was 1998. We went to overtime, and he busted out a 96-yard touchdown run. It was freaking unbelievable to win in overtime. Freaking Garrison Hurst, I loved him. He was one of my favorite players when he played with the Knights.
G. Hurst.
Absolutely loved him. G. Hurst, baby. All right. Keep moving.
Man,
You've been hearing me talk about Minnesota. I like Minnesota this year. The only question is, and it's a totally legit question, is J.J. McCarthy good enough? And I think the answer is going to eventually be yes. Is he going to do
eventually
weeks 1 through 4? I don't know. But I know Kevin O'Connell is an awesome coach. And when you got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison with you, and you have other guys like Aaron Jones Sr., who is a veteran, if anything, and they'll find other players to run.
And then they have Hawkinson.
Got a healthy T.J. Hawkinson, yeah.
T.J. Hawkinson. You got a lot of good players there. That's just the offense. On defense, they stacked up again and they re-signed players. They brought over Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave. They brought over Isaiah Rodgers. They got Byron Murphy Jr. They got a lot of good players, man.
And this is after letting like Danielle Hunter go.
Yeah.
You know, Danielle Hunter is one of the, down there in Houston, he's still one of the best in the league. So my thing, though, Jason, with the Minnesota train is this year is going to prove how good of a coach Kevin O'Connell really is. You know, we saw what the Sam Darnold magic.
I was going to say.
Yep, in the secondary for the Vikings. We
Totally
saw the Sam Darnold magic, but is he going to be able to do that with a rookie quarterback who's slightly undersized coming off a major injury? And I don't think it'll be this year. I still have Minnesota finishing. I can't believe I'm saying this. I have Minnesota finishing last in the division.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I have. That's what everybody said last year. Don't forget that. They wrote off Sam Darnold. He was a nothing, no name, nobody, and then look what happened. He was freaking like an MVP candidate for the first.
But Sam Darnold has some seasoning, though. He's got a little bit of Lowry's on him.
And he had a lot of
training. We've also seen guys jumping in their first year, like C.J. Stroud and Jalen Daniels over the past couple of seasons, and do a really good job. He's in a really good situation.
He is.
We got Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson. Dude. You're going to draw up easy plays. Kevin O'Connell's going to cut the field in half, and J.J. McCarthy's going to say, you know what? You got two reads. We're going to make it real easy. If J.J. ain't open, throw it to T.J. in the flat or whatever it is. Or throw it to the running back, running out the opposite side. He's going to come up with stuff to make easy throws for McCarthy.
But J.J.'s got a hell of an arm. Let's not forget that.
He does.
I was watching a mission. This was 2 years ago. They were playing Iowa. And JJ rolled out. They were on the far hash. If you're looking at the screen, they were on the top hash. He scrambles around, goes all the way to the bottom of the screen, and then launches a ball all the way back to the top sideline. Again, it had to be like 60 yards in the air. I've never seen a throw like that in my life, man. That guy, he's got an arm, so that can be a blessing and a curse if we, as we've seen with some quarterbacks over the years. But what's up, Papa J? What's going on, my man?
Yo, a lot of people have been high on the Bears lately, but McNiner is not.
I'm not either. We don't like the Bears.
You're not either. Okay.
A lot of us don't like the Bears.
Again, Caleb Williams.
It's all I'm telling you,
it's all
the Bears roster.
Can Caleb Williams do it? Dude, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you. I'm sorry. I know we're going back and forth, but they got what they needed.
This is not lemonade. This is lemonade. This is the fancy stuff. Fago lemonade, baby.
Chicago, man. They got the guys up front in Tooney and Drew Dahlman, and they got Jonah Jackson to go. Dunze in his second year, and DJ Moore. We know
they drafted two tackles.
Yeah,
Ozzie Trapillo is one of them who I really like coming out of the draft.
Their running game may be a little weak, but they still got guys like Montez Sweat. They picked up Grady Jarrett also.
I also heard they want to add Nick Chubb. I heard Nick Chubb is in the.
That would be nice.
Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. You got Loveland, your dynamic duo tight end, and I lost some credibility at my job when I said, and I will stick by this. Man for man, other than quarterback, the Chicago Bears have just as good a roster as the Detroit Lions.
The third.
And Darwin Raven, Levi making good points. Luther Burden.
Luther Burden is a sleeper.
That's Jason's. Yeah. Jason's been high on him since before the draft.
I was, man. Let's see it happen.
I played actually a tribute to Jason. I played college football over the weekend, and I used Missouri. And Luther Burden, he's like a 90 ranking. That guy I think I had him like 400 yards in the game or something. Brady Cook they were cooking with him, man. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, Chicago's scary. Watch them go like 4-13 now.
Yeah, I know, seriously, right? They're gonna have a horrible year. I mean, geez, but that's the thing, Caleb Williams. If he's not the guy, they're gonna find out this year. This is his year to show. All right, I belong in the NFL or I don't.
Yeah, he has everything around him. They protecting him. They got him weapons, as they say. He's got at least 3 running backs if they add Nick Chubb that can possibly do something. They never had an O-line before, so the running back should do much better. You got an incredible mind now as your head coach, an offensive-minded coach. Should work.
So let's pose that question, because a lot of people, we've talked before about Philly losing coordinators. We talk about the Lions losing both coordinators. What is it? what's the impact of a high-profile? We've seen it over the years. We've seen a lot of high-profile coordinators get jobs and then suck. Is Ben Johnson going to be the next in the line of guys who suck going into their first couple years? Because I had the over-under initially on 3 years for Ben Johnson, because that's usually all these hotshot coordinators get. I think he'll get a longer leash in Chicago than Aaron Glenn will get with the Jets. What do you guys think about that?
That's interesting. I feel like Ben Johnson became a made man in Chicago already, and it's not deserved yet because he hasn't done it on a head coaching status. Neither is Aaron Glenn, for that matter. But Aaron Glenn in New York, you get a real short leash, man. Like, you only have 2 years tops to do this shit. Otherwise, you're out of here. In Chicago, it's a little bit different. I know they've been through coaches like crazy over the past 5-6 years, but they're done doing that. That's why they got Ben Johnson and paid him all that money. So my answer is Ben Johnson sticks around.
And people have been waiting for Ben Johnson to pick a team for like a couple years, right? Like he's been in talks to become a head coach for a while. The problem is that not everyone can be a head coach in the NFL. We know that. No. We know most Super Bowls are won by the same head coach with the same quarterback. This is very tough.
Happens very often.
I mean, case in point, where's Eric Bieniemy right now?
Remember all the talk about Eric Bieniemy?
Where's Byron Leftwich right now?
Right.
I remember. I can go back to remember when Ken Wisenhunt was the hot name as a coordinator. You know, there's Robert Saleh, your guys' guy.
Mike McDaniels.
There's a lot of guys, man.
Not easy.
It's that don't make it. You know, they go from coach or coordinator to coach.
And some do. Look, some are geniuses in waiting. Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay. Some of these guys are just waiting to blossom and come out, and they do their thing. And then you have like veteran guys like Mike Vrabel, who showed what he can do in Tennessee and is now going to a brand new team. His old team that he played for, obviously.
Better team, I think.
Dan Gamble.
Yeah, it could be a better team. Look, he had that Tennessee Titans team, the number 1 ranked team in the AFC. He is such a good coach. People don't get it.
The Titans.
A lot of good things.
Say that louder for people in the back that
they had Henry still, though. They had Henry
telling
still,
you, man.
Right?
Oh yeah, they had.
All right, so I know I'm bouncing a little bit, but
that's all right.
I want to go to Atlanta real quick because we keep talking about these young quarterbacks. Is Michael Penix, Kenny? Got to go to you first, man. I know you know what you're talking about. Is he good enough with this roster? Who I think, look, Drake London, I'm not in love with. I'm not in love with Kyle Pitts. I like Darnell Mooney, but I'm not in love with these guys. Bijan Robinson, I feel like should be doing a better job offensively. So is Michael Penix good enough with these guys to win the division, possibly over Tampa Bay, or at least sneak in and get a playoff spot with such a shitty schedule?
I think even with the shitty schedule, the Falcons are only going to improve this year on their defense a little bit. I don't think the offense is going to do much. Drake London, I agree with you. I agree with you on Bijan. I keep sometimes when I have the third pick in a mock draft, I see him there and I take Jahmyr Gibbs anyway. Like I just go way down the line. I just don't see that team being a very good offensive team. They're always very good against the Niners. I always remember them playing us well, but they're just not ready yet. I don't see that happening in that division. And Michael Penix, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be this year. Maybe he has more of like a Bryce Young trajectory, sort of like, you know, has a couple flashes, but this year I don't think it's going to be it. And Pitts, as far as that guy, that poor guy, if he had ended up on the Niners, he'd probably have 100 touchdowns by now. Sadly, he ended up on the Falcons, has like 8 touchdowns in his entire career at this point. Never had a good quarterback over there to throw him the ball, and I don't know if Penix is going to be the guy this year.
I'm not sure. I'm not sold on him prime, to be honest with you. I feel a lot more comfortable putting my money on Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield than that offense. And I know the Liam Cohen resin.
Yeah, Liam Cohen's gone.
Left over. Liam Cohen resin.
I wasn't high on Penix at all, and this goes back to when he was in Washington. I think he was the benefit of having 2 really, really good receivers.
It happened with Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion. That's what happened with Trevor Lawrence.
It's kind of a similar trajectory. I don't see the Falcons. You know, they won't be the bottom of that division, but they're not. There's no way in hell I think that they're strong enough to take over the Bucs and Baker Mayfield and company. What I do think, though, and this is probably an interesting question for some people, if Penix gets hurt, does Kirk Cousins swallow his pride and say, you know what, I'll go ahead and you know, throw my jersey back on and bail the Falcons out after the way they treat him? That's going to be a question all season long. And I think to your guys' point with the Falcons, not only is London a little overrated, Pitts is on the wrong team. Bijan is good, but that he's all you got. He's your feature back, so he's talented. Let's make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
But the distraction until Kirk Cousins goes away from the Falcons, is that going to be looming in the back of Penix's head and the coach's head? And if Penix gets injured, God forbid, does Kirk Cousins say, you know what, I'll come to the rescue?
Yeah, what if he takes
even though
off?
you guys are still paying? Yeah. What if he leaves before the season? Then what do they do?
Well, that's the one thing, right? They could have moved on from him this year. I know it wasn't going to be cheap, but they could have if they wanted to, if they were so confident in Penix. So I don't think they are. I think the only reason Penix isn't, the only reason Kirk Cousins isn't starting the season again is because of the way he finished the season last year. I mean, it was dreadful. And so I think that's why Penix is going to get the chance to start this year. But I have a feeling that Kirk might take that job back, at least for a little while.
That'd be interesting if he took that job back. I mean, you would have to swallow a lot of pride and really be a hell of a team freaking player in order to do something like that, which I believe that he is. He is a team type
I think
player.
he's not showing up for. I think he went to the voluntary stuff, but I think the OT or the what's this training camp or whatever's going on right now. He
OTAs.
OTAs, yeah, he hasn't shown up yet. So I think he's making a statement. I think just because he loves the game and loves to play, I think
Kirk
if Penix
Cousins
gets hurt, he'll play.
He's always, I mean, as far as I remember, from what I've seen with my own eyes, maybe I just haven't seen his bad games. I know he's not perfect, but I've seen this dude. I look at him sometimes. He's like 37 for 44, 4 touchdowns, and maybe that was a little Justin Jefferson, help.
Yeah, but he was like that in Washington too, though.
Yeah.
And I blew Twitter up the last
closer.
3-4 years about Cousins. I'm not a fan, so to speak, but I've always been like a quiet supporter.
I think they'd be happy with second place.
Darwin's Raven, you asking who they just brought in Atlanta from quarterback? If you're thinking of, I think it's Easton Stick, if that's the guy you're referring to right there.
Who?
I really think, yeah, exactly. Who? What? Did he play for the Chargers or
the next
held the clipboard for him?
Easton Stick sounds like a softball bat.
It sounds like my bat in Little League.
What is this question? I think Atlanta has made good decisions with their coordinates, but Zach Robinson's an upcoming star from Sean McVay Tree. Oh, Zach Robinson. Okay, I got this. I'm with you now. I'm with you. All right, back on board. But you know what? I want to stay in that division for a second before we go to the end of NFC West. I'm starting to like what Carolina's putting together. You got Bryce Young, who I feel is getting more confident now. You got Xavier Legette on one side. You got Ted McMillan on the other.
Breakout season, Legette. Breakout season.
Right? This guy could be a fantasy quarterback. I would not hesitate to draft him as my backup fantasy quarterback if Justin Herbert or somebody else isn't doing so well. I think Carolina's going to be okay.
He's going to get us plenty of chances to throw the ball because they're probably going to be down a lot.
That's a big limb. That's a very slim limb to go out on, Jason. Having Bryce Young as your fantasy quarterback, that's saying a lot. We've been high on him because of what he did at the end of last season.
Baker Mayfield won a lot of people championships last year in fantasy, including we thought that was going to happen.
Yeah. But I like Bryce. However, I think Carolina's defense is going to be a big question mark. I know they brought a couple guys in, but I'm still concerned about their consistency as far as throwing the football, running the football. Their offense to me is going to have a lot of question marks. So that'll probably be one of the side teams that I kind of keep a close eye on as the season goes on, just because I'm not rooting for Bryce Young, but I kind of want to see him succeed simply because of the way he got treated last year. But Carolina's going to be one of those teams that's like, can they score enough? Are they going to be able to score 25, 28 points a game? Because their defense is not all that great. And like you say, he may be a fantasy option simply because he's going to throw a lot.
They did bring in a lot of new players, though, which all right, I'm not going to go crazy over guys like Bobby Brown, and then there's Patrick Jones, and then Tershwin Wharton. I'm trying to remember these guys' names off the top of my head. They got Derek Brown. He's a solid player. They got J.C. Horn. Made a lot of money. I'm still trying to figure out how the hell that happened.
They just didn't want him to leave because we wanted him. The Niners really wanted him, but I think they were like, we have to keep this guy. We have to. They
did, and they paid him for it, and he's living happy over there. So, damn.
Shit.
Again, I'm not saying they're a playoff team, Kenny, but I'm liking the direction that they're going. I think they're just going to keep building and building.
Yeah, they're a team on the up and up. I guess they're on the incline.
On the incline.
There you go, on the incline. And that division
What do you
is
think
up
about
in the air.
Tommy Tremble?
I like Tremble
Tommy
and,
Tremble, yes.
and Jatavian. Is Jatavian Sanders also there still?
Jatavian Sanders.
Yes,
Or did he move?
Yeah, Jatavian Sanders, Evan Mitchell.
I don't know. I should bring up there.
They
A lot
drafted
of young
Evan
guys.
Mitchell.
If they can get pumped, if they can get psyched, if they can get on the same page, if the chemistry is good, you never know. They could win like 6 or 7 games this year, right? Does that sound about right?
That sounds fine to me. I think that'd be again a step in the right direction.
Chuba Hubbard.
They'll be right behind. Right? Yeah, he had a great year last year.
Dowdell. They got Trevor, the other ETN.
Yeah,
You know, so
Yeah,
they-
Robert's a good player,
brother.
man. Drew Robert's a good player.
then they got
So
the
what-
Red Rocket. If everything goes south, you got the
That's
Red
right.
Rocket backing you
Dalton
up.
is just wait. Just wait.
Gosh, yeah, man,
You
he's
got
been
Jake
in the league
Plummer's
for
kid.
a long time. Man, he has been in the league a long. I can't believe that red hair hasn't turned gray yet. Unbelievable. What a set of hair this guy
That's
has.
for
Yeah.
men.
He might be using just for men, exactly.
Yeah, right. Should be the friggin' spokesperson the way he looks, for God's sake. All right, so we're hearing some NFC West talk out here already, and that's our last division we're going to get to. And everybody loves the Rams. I mean, they have the team, they got the players. They added Devontae Adams this year to go along with Puka Nacua. Keep Matthew Stafford up and healthy. Things will go well. Kyron Williams, again, not a guy that's talked about a whole lot, but is really that good. Kyron Williams is a really good player. And then on defense, we saw all these young guys last year in Fisk and Jared Burst come along. And then you got Byron Young, They got a lot of good players, Akilla Witherspoon and Quentin Lake. Some players that you never even heard of before, but they are put together really well. And it's going to be hard for any team to really step into their domain, except for, and I think I'm going to surprise you because of the way I've been talking about them, the 49ers are still their best competition, in my opinion.
Well, I just saw one of the big networks say that the Niners are the 3rd best chance to making the playoffs in the NFC, and I believe them. We were
Third
you know
best.
how bad it last year. We had a terrible season. It started in the preseason. I mean, it started in OTA. People didn't show up to OTAs. We had people holding out. You know, we had people completely missing preseason games and just not playing. We had Ricky Pearsall, our first pick, was shot. We had a couple players lose newborns. Just the tension and the atmosphere in that locker room was just not a happy vibe. We had Nick Sorensen at DC. I mean, we had no CMC. We had no BA. Trent Williams only played 10 games.
Debo barely played.
We were messed up pretty good. And now Vegas is like, they seem like they're back like the little John Wick. They're back like John Wick. So be careful, man. And I'm not going to disrespect the Rams. I know they're on paper right now and what they did last year. They look like the leaders there, but Vegas has the Niners in front of them and winning that
10.5 wins. Yeah, 10.5 wins to win
especially
that division.
because of the schedule too. Doesn't hurt them.
The schedule, yeah. And again, that's tricky because we know that a lot of teams that we don't think are very good going into the year do turn out to be good and vice versa. So we know that does happen. But the 49ers, they still have good players. We do worry about the offensive line a little bit more. Trent Williams is older now. You know, you got Jake Rendell at center when we could have him playing somewhere else. Colton McKivitz at right tackle. But then you talk about Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall. Hopefully he'll be healthy and ready to go. Jawan Jennings needs to take a big step up. And Christian McCaffrey, the only way that we go to the playoffs, and let me go to you on this one, Prime, is if he stays healthy, in my opinion. And I haven't even talked about the defense yet.
No, I think, with your newly crowned $50 million man, it's everything with the 49ers to me this year revolves around the health of Christian McCaffrey. And I'm sure you guys, agree with that. My thing is that San Francisco lost so much. They lost and some of the players that they lost were names, probably not necessarily really good players. It was just names that people are familiar with.
Ward, Greenlaw, Debo.
Yeah, which is the case of a lot. But
Hargrave.
You guys still believe in Kyle Shanahan. You guys got Robert Saleh back. That's going to make a big difference for your defense.
And typically we own McVay.
That's true. We own the Rams. No, we own the Rams. We own their ass. We do. That one playoff game, the NFC Championship, what was it, 3 years ago? We were up 17-0. They had no business winning that game. That was bullshit. Yeah. Sorry, Prime, but that was bullshit.
Okay. But like Levi said, that the Rams didn't have a ton of draft picks, but they still had a good draft. the Niners probably had. Well, the Niners had a good number of. What you guys had, like 9 picks?
11.
Yeah, we have
11
picks. Yeah.
The consensus was that as the 49ers do, they botched the draft, but
Reached a little bit, as they say.
yeah. But I still think it doesn't. At the end, it's going to be about what Brock Purdy does and what Christian McCaffrey do, and everything else will kind of be like a backstory.
Yeah.
I still see them being. I still see the Rams winning that division, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners made the playoffs and took away one of those playoff spots, maybe from a team like the Commanders, maybe.
Well, let's talk about
that'll be.
Let's talk about which teams will make it in the NFC.
Yeah, so let's go real quick.
Man. I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna keep an eye on the Niners too, because one of the local guys here is a really big Niner fan. So
he must
kind
be
of
a good
makes you
person.
watch him.
Must be a very good person, obviously.
Yeah.
Tell him I said hello.
Got good taste.
Last year we had Philly, Washington, we had Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay all from the North make it. Tampa took the South, and the Rams were the lone team from the West. Most likely teams to make it out of that bunch. I'm not high on Green Bay, guys. I'll tell you that one right now. I don't love them.
Same.
Don't love them. I know that prime. You're going to say Minnesota. They're one of your teams out right now. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I think that's the Niners. I think the Niners take that spot.
There's at least one spot open.
The Packers didn't lose anything. The Packers didn't lose anything. They still, and Jordan Love's not super great, but there's 25 other teams in this league that would love to have Jordan Love as their quarterback.
Maybe not that many, but I hear you. And they did go 11-6 last year, so let's give them credit. They had a good season.
So, I mean, Jordan Love's won, 22, 23 games his first 2 seasons as a full-time starter. So he's not chopped liver. He may not be everybody's darling, but, Green Bay is still a pretty good team, man. And I still got them finishing. It's going to be a toss-up between them and the Bears as far as who finishes second in that division. I'll probably give the nod to the Packers right now simply because I think Jordan Love is better than Caleb Williams. But yeah, I do. So I can see the Niners easily taking that Minnesota spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, I can see him taking maybe Green Bay's spot. I like Minnesota. You know what? And Kenny, you like Dallas. So
I do.
Who drops out? Is it Washington? Is it? Well, you got to have a winner from the NFC South and NFC West either way. So it was Tampa and the Rams last year. All the playoff teams came from the East and the North. So
I think the North might beat up on each other a little bit. And maybe that could be the difference right there.
The Lions.
One of those teams is going to have to drop out, whether it be your Lions, which I don't think is going to happen. Minnesota.
Unlikely.
I don't think it's going to be Minnesota. I think they're too stacked. I know that you guys and some people don't like the secondary. I don't love the secondary either, but their front seven had made up for it. Can you do that for 17 games and then some in the playoffs?
I know how crazy this sounds, but I'm not sold on the Washington. I think it was just like a Cinderella season, bro. I don't
think
know.
They're going to take a step back?
I don't think Washington is going to make the playoffs possibly this year. I really don't.
Kenny's onto something there, man, because you know what?
I'm picking Dallas.
Vegas knows what they're talking about, and if Vegas has them dropping from 12 wins to 8.5, that says something. That's a real big deal. And
I just get a weird feeling.
That's the script.
Like, I got a weird.
They have a
feeling.
harder schedule. They won a lot of close games last year. Their season.
Remember the Hail Mary one? The Hail Mary.
Yeah, that's when their season turned around. Is that Hail Mary pass? That's when they were losing that game to Chicago. That game was over at home.
Yeah.
I turned that game on right at the tail end too, and I was treated to that. That was crazy.
Unreal. Can't believe this guy, the Bears guy, is out there like waving at fans in the state. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Darwin's raving, talking about Seattle over here. Sam Darnold. I'm sorry, Sam Darnold doesn't do it for me. He doesn't get you into the playoffs.
There's no Jay Jettis there anymore. There's that's not going to be the same.
There's no Kevin O'Connell there.
It's not going to be the same defense either. So.
Yeah, I don't like it. Washington 10-7 prime, you think?
That's what I like I say, that to me that's a step back to go from 12 wins to 10 wins.
It is.
But if Kenny's theory holds true, and if Dallas, I mean, what do you got? What's your prediction, Kenny, as far as Dallas's record? Because I still think Philly could win anywhere from 12 to 14 games.
Yeah, Dallas
was hurt. They were 7-10 without Dak for most of the season, Kenny.
And also remember, Dak was out half the season. And one thing about Dallas' schedule last year, they played 6 teams in a row. who had 11 or more wins, and they
Yeah.
didn't have Dak. That shit matters. I still think they're a better team this year. I think the offense is way better. I think Micah Parsons has a great season. I really believe Jalen Ramsey's on his way there. I think these things make a big difference. They're going to have an easier schedule, I believe. I think it's going to be it's a possibility that Dallas could sneak in. And you know Dallas. Like, Dallas does shit like that, and then they blow it. So
are they going to blame Dak when they blow it, or is it going to be a collective? Because it seems like Dak is like if you
I think
look
they're
at the
gonna blame
quarterbacks in the
Jerry.
league, he's probably the most polarizing quarterback in the league. If either you love him or hate him, and I know he's up for another contract. This year, next year? So that'll be the talk too. That might be a distraction going. Him and Lamar, actually. Lamar, they were already talking his extension coming up. So
he'll be the highest paid player in NFL history, Lamar. No doubt about it.
You think he'll crack 60? I think Patrick Mahomes might be the first $80 million quarterback when his
that would be a mistake.
It would, especially at the tail end of his career. But
he has declined the last 2 seasons, and a lot like Brady for me. And Jason has made this point. You know, Bill Belichick's defense had a lot to do with Tom Brady's wins. So it's a little bit of that defense,
Yeah. No
might
doubt.
have to carry Mahomes for the next couple of years. That defense. So.
Well, yeah, we'll see. If wide receivers stop dropping like flies over there in Kansas City, and Travis Kelce all of a sudden went from the greatest tight end that ever lived to like mediocre talent last year, at best. I had him on one of my fantasy teams, and I was like, what the hell is going on with this guy? You're doing nothing for me all year long. Pissed me off. Really did.
Lamar, honestly, I believe Lamar deserves the money more than Patrick Mahomes. That's just me personally, though. So.
It's interesting. That's an interesting debate. Who's more valuable to their team? Who's the better player? To me, it's Patrick Mahomes, but
Lamar had 45 touchdowns last year?
When nobody schemes or nobody has more nightmares than defensive coordinators who have to play Lamar Jackson the next day. He is an absolute nightmare. At least with Patrick Mahomes, you kind of know what you're getting. With Lamar,
until the playoffs.
Holy shit!
Patrick Mahomes he's a system quarterback, baby. He's a game manager.
I hate Lamar. I never liked Lamar. I thought the Lamar love and it was totally overblown. He's going to give you 1 or 2 in the playoffs. You know it. Just sit back and wait. If you're the defense, he's going to give you one.
That's
fair. If there's a quarterback, we talked about it, I think, a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. If there's a quarterback, you talk about pressure between him and Josh Allen. It's as far as who needs to win a Super Bowl, who's got the most pressure to win a Super Bowl sooner than later, it's Lamar, and it's not even close.
Yeah,
Lamar, for all the talk and all the money and all this, that, and the other, Lamar's got to win a Super Bowl.
He has to get to the Super Bowl. Why? Because he has an incredible record against the NFC. It'd be nice if we'd see him actually play an NFC team postseason.
Well, it'd be nice if we could see any of these guys except for Joe Burrow in one standout year. Everybody wants to make Joe Burrow the best quarterback in the world. They've gone to the playoffs once in 4 years, so I don't want to hear all this shit.
And you lost to the Rams, for God's sake.
They
they were winning. They were playing a good game.
They were playing a good game. Their defense is playing good. They had the ball last. They were ready to go, but some guy named Aaron Donald, who's a freak of nature, decided to wreck the game all by himself. And that's
Game wrecker.
Home wrecker. Game wrecker. He wrecked the shit out of it. He really did. So that's the thing. Like, we named there's 14 teams that go to the playoffs every year. And we only came up with 4 that we think are going to be out. We know it's going to be more than that. Why? Injuries. You can't predict those. You just can't. Is Jared Goff going to get hurt, God forbid, and the Lions season is over from there?
Listen, a bad weather game, too, can make some shit go south. So you just never know, man.
As soon as I say Lions, look what Under the Helmet does. Lions to the Super Bowl because the Niners won't make it. Thanks a lot.
See, under the helmet is somebody after my own heart. I agree 100,000%. If Philly doesn't go, I think it's going to be rightfully so Philly and the Lions here. And full disclosure, I think that if the Lions and Philly would have met last year in the NFC Championship game, Philly's probably still would have won that game.
At least it would have been closer.
It would have been closer, but I still think Philly would have won that game.
And, what the hell happened to Spags in the defense in the Super Bowl? That's embarrassing. I mean, you're Spagnola, man. You are an elite defense coordinator.
It was awesome. Yeah. It was awesome to watch because you ever not like a guy not because he's bad or not because he's a bad dude, I just like Patrick Mahomes because of the comparisons to Brady. Stop.
Yeah. Don't do it now.
Tom Brady is the greatest of all time.
I don't
Tom
like to
Brady,
do that
and you
anymore.
guys know this, Tom Brady didn't even get acknowledged as one of the greatest. And the GOAT talk, people wouldn't even do it until he won 4. Patrick Mahomes has won
Some
3
wouldn't do it till he
after
won in
his
Tampa.
Exactly. And after Patrick Mahomes' second, people, oh, he's the greatest of all time. No, he's not. So I dislike Patrick Mahomes because they compare him too much to Tom Brady. I just hate Aaron Rodgers because he's a douche. I just hate Aaron Rodgers, period.
I'm so freaking done with him, man. It's amazing that we got an hour and 10 minutes and his name just popped up.
I had to do it.
That's how
At
dumb
least,
we are.
usually we talk about him in the first 10 minutes. So this
Right.
is
I'm
good.
sorry.
But only for 10 seconds. We don't want to
like-
give him more airtime. He's got enough.
Right.
Like I'm
Big Fangio gave them advice.
Green
He's
Day is
still
a
holding
Hall
out.
of Famer.
He's still holding out for the Vikings because he's like messing with 2 girls, right? It's like, yeah, I'll hook up with the Steelers, but I really want to hook up with the Vikings, so I'm going to wait as long as possible until the Vikings absolutely are out on me before I go to the Steelers. That's
But
what he's
why,
doing.
if you're the
Messed up.
Pittsburgh Steelers, this isn't the Indianapolis Colts. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you're letting Aaron Rodgers string you along and string you along and string you
Would
along.
never
Gross.
happen. Yeah,
Gross. Gross. Don't like it now one.
I
I don't
would've been
think. I
calling-
wonder how
I would've
Tomlin
been calling
truly
for
feels
Kirk
about
Cousins
this.
before I deal with Aaron Rodgers.
I'd like to
would've been
get Tomlin with a
interested
couple of drinks and get the drunk mouth speaks a sober mind type thing going, just to see
in.
what he
Can you
really
imagine the
thinks.
hidden camera around that guy?
Oh
Forget
man,
about it.
hard
They
not.
need a quarterback. Maybe it's not freaking Aaron Rodgers and Darwin's Raven saying he believes in Howard, the kid from Ohio State.
That might be the plan, but I know
I
Mason
think I'm
Rudolph is
calling
going to
that
get
kid.
Mason Rudolph is going to start the season.
Well, you know, sometimes this guy surprises these late round picks, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounders. You never know. This shit can happen. But all right, maybe Will Howard. I don't know.
I mean, Ohio State. I mean, quarterbacks to Ohio State.
They don't do that good. That's the thing. Like CJ Stroud is really the only one who's done
He
any.
is.
He really is. Fields had a shot, but then
Well, so far his NFL career has been a disappointment so far.
Yeah.
There's no question about
definitely
it.
CJ Stroud's the best. But you know, CJ Stroud had a really bad second season, and you can say he didn't have his wide receivers, he had injuries, he had no O line. But I hear the same shit about Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy, all you hear about is, oh, he should have put them on his back. Well, CJ Stroud should have put him on his back then.
Fair.
Fair.
That's right. When you 2 of your best wide receivers went down, you got to be able to do something.
And you're in a garbage division. I mean, people will still say he
Garbage.
made the playoffs, and I'll be like, yeah, you're right, but it was a pretty bad division, so he better make the playoffs.
As much shit as we talked about Indy's going to be the team that gives them a run for their money. In that
They're going to be number 2 in that division for sure.
They really
Who's
are.
going to be number 2?
Indianapolis.
They will.
Oh my God!
They
Only
just
because
find weird ways to win 8 and 9 games. I don't know how they do it. But they
only
That's
because
funny.
Liam Cohen is going to need a year to get his bearings. But then after that division's going to belong to the
We
Jets.
need to get Liam on this show.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
we
that be
do.
We need to
fantastic?
find a way to get.
I want him to come on and go, Duval.
He'll be glowing if he comes on the show the way that he's talked about. Like nowhere in
Yeah.
the world does this guy get as much love as he does on Power.
That
Trip.
is crazy. It's like Kenny's his own
Yeah,
little
like
fan
the
base
fourth-
here with
the
Liam. I'm gonna give him a flag with
The
Liam.
fourth, fifth
LC.
game into the season last year, I was like, who's designing these plays for Tampa? I just thought they were like the coolest plays. He's scheming all these dudes open. Bucky Irving, Rashad White, they're just killing it. I couldn't help but notice it, man.
Well,
That's
hey,
crazy,
listen,
man.
there's a reason why they did so well, and maybe they'll do better next year. Who knows? Baker Mayfield proven to be a real.
I don't know
NFL
if you
player.
could have convinced me to leave. I mean, I would have loved to have stayed there. Make me the head coach for the, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Make me
Yeah.
the head coach, man.
That'd be nice. Well, he's got a head coaching job now, so he's got.
Yeah, and that's really what you want.
So
It's hard to
here's
say
what we
no
got to
to
do.
that.
We got to think of a number for Liam Cohen so we can send Kenny a jersey.
Yeah.
What would be a good number for Liam Cohen? Like
Whatever his
02
age
or
is.
something.
Think
Whatever
about
his
that.
current age is, that's probably the best way to go. Which
They
I don't
should
know,
make coach jerseys
59.
like
I
that.
have no idea how old this guy
I'd
is.
have a bunch of coaches' jerseys if they were coaches' jerseys. I mean, way before I would have a player's jersey. I like the coaches, man. I'd have a
Belichick.
Shanahan
Six.
jersey. I'd
Darwin's
have a-
bringing up the story about how he wouldn't even answer the phone calls from Jacksonville, and then how he screwed Tampa Bay over in the middle of the night. Yep, well, remember that crap. Remember that.
I'm sure there's a lot of things we don't know about that negotiation process.
No shit.
Yeah.
One of the most famous ones of all time is Bill Belichick just screwing the Jets,
With the Jets.
right over.
Yeah, I was just
That's
thinking
crazy.
about that.
Fuck you guys. I'm going to the Patriots.
Well, and
Yeah.
remember, Nick
Basically
Saban did that to Michigan State, too. I'm
Yeah.
not going to LSU. I'm not going to LSU. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. First class to Baton Rouge, baby. I'm
People
gone.
know what they're going to do the best for themselves. They know that. Under the
That's
helmet
crazy.
back.
Jonathan
had
Taylor.
another great year.
He's one of the best running backs in this
And
this
nobody
fantasy
talks
draft
about
this
him
year.
Gonna have to show it. But
They're gonna need him too. They're gonna need
I'm
him.
interested in talking more about, specifically in another show, obviously, because we're out of here for now. But the NFC North, that division is so interesting. And Darwin's Raven talking about Ben Johnson, Kellen Moore with Philly. You know, Kellen Moore now with the Saints. So we haven't even talked about the Saints because they're really not worth our breath that much to go through. They got nothing going on right now. Tyler Shock is probably going to be their quarterback. And you know what? Maybe he will shock us and be a really good quarterback.
He very well could be. He's got experience. We know he's developed.
It's
He's
possible.
got to do it now, man.
It's possible.
And they're going to protect him.
It's not going to be Spencer Rattler. I'll tell you that right now. So
The hardest part with him is going to be
think
pronouncing
it
his
is.
last name correctly.
I still think it's Shuck, but I don't know.
I do.
Oh,
I think it's Shuck.
Shuck.
What the Shuck? What the Shuck?
Shut us, Chuck. Look at this shuck and
Right.
chuck.
What the shuck? There you go. There you go. What the shuck?
What the Shuck?
After they go like 0-9 to
And
start.
he's gonna have like 37
man.
interceptions his first year.
I love it. Well, the hour of power has come to a conclusion. Again, we had nothing written down, as we normally don't have anything written down. Just a couple of topics, but we didn't know what we were doing like 24 hours ago. We had no idea we were going to do the show. We're like, let's just fuck around and do divisions and have fun and see where it takes us. And we had a great time, and we thank you guys, Papa J, Darwin's Raven, Levi, McNiner, Under the Helmet, Steve-O. Love you guys, man. Appreciate you guys joining the show every week.
Always.
Make it that much better. We love putting you guys stuff out there. So, again, thank you very much, man. We love it. Power 32 Podcast. Kenny, Prime, we're out of here for now. Kenny, you're off next week, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be off next week.
All right. So we're not going to get everybody watching the show as we usually do. Because
No, they'll be here.
There's a lot of Kenny off-season fans out there, but it's all right. We'll keep it rolling. We'll get it back for the week after. We're out of here, everybody. Peace.
Peace.